Hello again and welcome to another edition of Southern Country. Hi, I'm Herb Southern and welcome to the show. I'm very happy to say I have Capital recording artist Chris Cagle on the show. Welcome.
How you doing?
I'm all right. We're doing all right.
Good.
Well, let's find out more about Chris Cagle. But before we do that, what's a Cagle head?
Well, I'm not sure I know. No, Cagle head, it's kind of, it was a phrase that was coined by a DJ in the Midwest, and you know, my fans, I've been very fortunate. They're very, very passionate about what I do, and almost as zealous and passionate about it as I am, and they kind of deem themselves Cagle heads. You know, it's like I guess the definition would be a follower of Chris Cagle.
They even have a dictionary.
I know, it's kind of wild. I've heard, like, yeah,
Cagnetic and Caglelicious and Cagle Kids, and it goes on and on.
Yeah, it's
you know,
it's pretty funny.
If any of your fans want to log on and add to this dictionary, they can do it by chriscagle.com.
That's it. That's the website. You know, it's funny. I haven't been there in a while, guys. I promise I'm coming back. I'm going to come in and post. I'm actually getting a new computer, but I love going on there and just kind of taking time to see what folks have to say about the shows and their experiences with us, and they mean a lot to me.
Absolutely. Feedback is always important to anybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Let's talk about Play It Loud. In the tradition of Charlie Daniels and Travis Tritt blends of soul and rock and country to create a new sound that remains rough around the edges. Is that the sound you wanted to create? Or that just happened?
Yeah, no, I wanted to make sure, you know, when I first started the record with Robert Wright, who I give, you know, I'm listed on the record as a co-producer, but I give him credit for the sound and for the tone of the album and the kind of the stage that was set for the beginning of this career. You know, he sat me down one day. I was in there cutting some stuff that was a little more on the traditional side, and he said, "You know what? I don't believe you."
Why?
I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "I don't believe you. You're singing this stuff to me, and I don't believe you. It's like you run around the studio and you're like a kid pushing buttons and having fun, and then you get up behind the mic and all of a sudden you settle down." Or he said, "Let's create music that has that. That's who you are. That, you know," and that's kind of where we started. We went back to, you know, kind of to the drawing board, to ground zero, and started over. And I just started making music that made me feel good.
Right.
And by the time we got done with it in the studio, it was pretty heavy. Yeah, it was fun.
The music you play now, the traditionalists will head for the hills, huh? They're not too traditional, huh?
Well, here's the thing. What we call traditional music now, you know, is like Merle Haggard and you know, Charlie Pride, Charlie Rich, you know, Willie Nelson. But the thing is this. That music was traditional to them because they sang about where they're from and the traditions they had in their lives.
Okay.
This music is traditional to me because it's about where I'm from and what I've lived.
All right.
Technology came along and changed my life. And, I mean, I have no idea what it's like to walk barefoot in the snow uphill both ways to school, like my grandfather used to say, or fat rind bacon and biscuits and stuff like that. But this is, you know, and when my kids are older, my traditions are going to be different from theirs because of the age of information.
Yeah,
so this is kind of traditional to me.
Okay. Billboard describes your music as an all-out assault on the senses. What was that comment all about? Well,
you know, it's hard to kind of go and say what somebody meant when they said it. But, you know, as far as one of the things that's important to me in my records and my music is that I'm allowed to take people to either a point of pain or a point of pleasure. Because that's kind of what music does. I mean, it'll take you back to a memory, or it'll get you over a heartache, or it'll just let you have a good time.
Well, you get emotional on some of your songs too.
Yeah, there's some that. In fact, I wrote one yesterday about my wife and I called "It Takes Two," and when we were writing it, there's a line in the opening of the second verse. It says, "Sometimes my work in the world gets the best of me, and then I come home and try to give you what's left of me." And when I wrote that, I kind of told Monty, I said, "Man, I'm gonna need a minute," because it hit me, and I just, you know, because it's the truth. She kind of gets the leftovers in my life right now.
Yeah, that's what she said at that interview. Then when I saw her at the Neon Circus, well, I got them for 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. It's you know what though, she gladly gives that to me because she knows that I wouldn't be the husband or the the man that I am in her life without being happy with who I am and what I do.
You put a lot of emotion and passion into your music, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I really do. But you know, and I don't know why. And I don't know that I want to know why, because then as you know how humans, you start messing with it.
Don't ask.
Yeah, I'd rather just, this is me, this is what I do, and
what comes out of the pen is on the paper.
That's it.
That's it. Hey, Play It Loud is a pretty good track record. My Love was top 15, Laredo was top 10, and Breathe In, Breathe Out, right to the top of the charts, man.
Yeah.
How about pick one video and we'll play it.
My favorite video that I've ever done is Laredo, and it's because of the fact that it was right at the time of my label change from Virgin to Capital. And there was not we didn't have, all of a sudden the treatment was thrown out the window. We had to come up with this on our own, and my director and I came up with this in like 24 hours.
Wow.
And so I feel like we made Hey While the Sun Was Shining that day.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Hey Chris, what happens when you plug that CD into your computer?
We have an interactive CD. You can plug it into the computer and you can actually see footage of the live show. You know, I had so many people asking questions, what am I going to get when I come to your show, or what's it going to be like?
Wow, that's cool.
And so I thought we'd put some of that in there. We also have some interview stuff to, you know, so folks can kind of get to know me a little bit.
Right.
Autobiographical or biographical material as far as where I'm from, where I've lived, what I'm about.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. We only used 11% on the CD of the available material, and this one I'm going to try. And I just got a Sony, a Canon XL1, the 3CCD, it's kind of like a broadcast quality camera.
All right.
And I've been filming stuff, like my own little scrapbook throughout, you know, the entire year and stuff. And when we go to do this record, I'm actually going to put a bunch of footage on there so that folks can kind of follow the career from behind the scenes.
Is that common among CDs to do that, or are they getting popular now?
I think it's starting to get, I kind of got the idea from Kev Mo. He had it on his, and I thought they did a really great job. And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try and see if I can't pull that off. I don't know who else is doing it, but I think it'd be great if more artists would do it, just because of the fact that it kind of gives more to the fans.
I think so. For more feedback, they get to know you. Hey, David Kirsch first recorded the song "Breathe In, Breathe Out" in 1998. What inspired you to write that song? You were at a hockey game?
Yeah, we were at a hockey game, and there's a girl that I'd gone out with a couple of times, and we were standing in the line, and one of my buddies, we were sitting there, and he goes, "Man, check this chick out." And I looked up, and I was like, "Dude," you know. And a friend of mine said, "Man, you know, Cagle kind of dated her, you know, whatever." And so, you know, he was like, "Hey, she's pretty, high five," you know, all this stuff. And I said, "Man, you know, could you just leave it alone?" And he said, "Well, how you doing?" You know, I said, "Man, you know, I breathe in, breathe out, put one foot in front of the other and take one day at a time." And John grabbed my arm. He's like, and I said, "I'm with you." Yeah. So we went out to the parking lot, put the tailgate down in my truck, and got my guitar out of the back cab, and sat down and wrote the song. Came back in the second period and just, you know, excited.
Right there, that was
we knew we'd had one. Yeah.
Yeah. What? You put that on as a bonus track on Play It Loud.
Right.
Well, but you changed it a little bit. How did you change it?
Well, the thing was, when we had the first album on Virgin, we only had 10 songs.
Okay.
And then when I went to Capital was like, "Look, let's go in and add some things to it. Let's give the folks a little more value. Let's give them 2 more songs. Let's do the interaction on the CD. Let's recover the package." And, you know, I think it was Capital. I think Capital felt like they may have wanted the opportunity to not only to give the fans more, but to put their stamp on me, and, you know, treat me as their own artist, and not necessarily go with the cover and the record from another label. And I completely understand that. I'd wanted the same thing if I was in their shoes. And I think it worked out well. My best song was one of the 2 that was cut off.
I was just going to say, you put it on. That was the #1 song for you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You co-produced this album, recorded 9 songs that you wrote, huh?
Yes.
And the first 3 were hits.
Yes. Yeah.
How about that, pal?
It's pretty exciting to go out to a show and to have written songs and to have folks come to the show and not only know the songs that have been on the radio, but know the songs that you wrote that are not on the radio but on the record, and to actually listen to the record and sing it back to you. It's a great feeling.
That is, has to be. How did you come about writing songs?
When I was a kid,
there you go.
I took piano lessons in high school, and my dad wouldn't let me play rock and roll. So I would learn like Journey songs and Elton John songs, and I would make up lyrics from the Bible. And the thing was, inadvertently I didn't realize it, but what was happening was the melodies were already there.
Yeah.
But I was learning the rhyme schemes and the metering programs and kind of putting that in my head and not even realizing what I was doing. And then when I went to start writing songs for myself, it was just like, you know what, you've done this before. You just didn't have to make up the melody.
All right.
So it was one of those deals where, you know, I thought, okay, now get good at writing music and making a melody and things that go together, because you know you can put the words.
Had to slide them past your dad, huh?
Yeah, man. I got busted one time in church. It was funny. I played Faithfully by Journey, and I made it all up about God and, you know, his son and their faithfulness to us. And this guy came up and he said, "That's not, you didn't write that, man. That's a Journey song." And my dad was just like, "Journey?" I said, "Dad, I have no idea what he's talking." I mean, I stood there and lied flat out in church, so God's probably going to get me, but.
Hey, your songwriting skills got better after you met Harlan Howard, huh? He helped you out a little bit, huh?
Yeah, you know, Harlan, God rest his sweet soul.
Yeah, he just passed on.
He didn't have to do anything with me, and he sat me down one day, and it was only about a 3.5-hour meeting, but I played some music for him, and he was very polite, but he told me it was really bad. And my grandfather used to have a saying, if you're going to tell a man he has a problem, be sure you have the solution for him.
Yeah, good saying.
And so when Harlan told me, and I said, well, how do I fix it? You know, what do I do? And he drew out a little graph chart thing or whatever. It's like a wheel. And he went from the axle to the hub to the spokes and to the outer rim. And he said, if you can get all the way to the end of this and roll that wheel down the road without bumps, you got a song.
Is that so?
And he said, but the difference is between just a regular wheel and a wheel that you're going to kind of ride for the rest of your life is the idea.
The idea.
You can't have a hit song without a hit song idea, period.
That's so.
I mean, if you don't have a hit song idea, it doesn't matter what you write. I mean, you may write, it's like there's a lot of really good songs in this world. Like, for example, Lovin' You, Lovin' Me on my record. It's a good song. You know, I don't know that it's a big hit. And it's because of the fact that it's a simple idea of I'm loving you, loving me. There's no major twist here. It's just me being honest and saying, you know what? Look at me and please tell me what you want is what you see. You know, I went through the thing with insecurities and men and relationships and all those things, and it's a very simple song. I don't know that it's a really big hit idea, so you know, that's probably why it wasn't on the radio. That's an example of that.
Let's play another video. What one do you want to put in?
How about My Love Goes On and On, man? The one that started off.
That kicked you off in the charts, man.
That was a blast.
Tell us something about it. Tell the audience something about it. They'll never know unless you tell them.
You know, it's funny. They were looking for what they call the location to shoot the video. And they had guys scouting all these different places. And it's a heavy metal rock and roll bar in Nashville called Hysteria. And I went in there and I saw it, and it had the John Travolta disco floor. It had the zebra stripes on the wall, and then it had the cross-dimpled chrome like on the tailgates of trucks. And I thought, man, that's who I am. This is what, you know, this song's got to have this. And so that's where we shot it.
How did Virgin Records get to hear about Chris Cagle?
I was working at a place called Slackers, and I met this very sweet lady named Donna Duarte. We became friends. I didn't realize it. I worked with her husband at the golf course during the day, caddying.
Caddying,
yeah.
Sure.
And for about 2.5, 3 months, I didn't know what Donna did. She never told me, and of course it wouldn't have mattered because she's just really a neat lady. And she came in. I was playing. Actually, this is kind of neat. I was playing On and On, Laredo, Play It Loud, and Who Needs the Whiskey as they sit on the record. Those were the demos that we cut. And you know, most records, they spend like $5,000, $10,000 a song. We spent $1,000 per song on those 4 songs.
Homemade tape.
At a little studio, and I was playing them at the bar.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Man, who's this?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, it's this guy I know."
Yeah, you know him
And
real well.
I just felt really weird talking about myself. So I tried, and then finally she goes, "Can I get a copy of it?" And I was like, "Sure." And she said, "Is this you?" And I was like, "Yeah." She said, "How'd you get such great material?" I was like, "I wrote it."
Wow.
And she's like, "You wrote this?"
Oh, man.
And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Who produced it?" And I was like, "A friend of mine and I." And
Man.
so she called me. I'll never forget this. It was at Through the Greens at Highland Rim. I just finished 18 holes. I was teeing off again on the first tee box. I was going to play 36. I get a phone call on my cell phone. It was Donna. She said, "I'm going to put Mr. Scott Hendricks through." And I was like, whatever,
Yeah,
you know. So he got on the phone. I said, "This isn't even funny, man." I said, I don't even know, you know, who you are, da-da-da-da. I'm playing golf. Leave me alone." She called me back. She's like, "Chris, I work for Scott Hendricks. This is Scott Hendricks." And I knew Scott. I mean, I was a big fan of his work. You know, I mean, he shaped a lot of country music when, you know, producing John Michael Montgomery and Alan Jackson, Faith Hill, Brooks and Dunn, all those guys.
Big name in Nashville.
Absolutely. And so he finally, when he got on the phone, I was like, "Mr. Hendricks, you know, I'm sorry, da-da-da." And he took me to lunch, and we talked, and he said, "Man, you just might be dysfunctional enough to be an artist." I'll never forget that. And I said, "Well, I hope that's a good thing, you know."
Yeah.
And he asked me, he said, "Are you sure you want this?" And I said, "Man, absolutely." And so he pulled the trigger and gave me my first shot, and I'll be forever grateful to him for that.
He let you make your own music.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's, you know, it's not,
that's not normal.
Yeah, it's not a normal thing. It was one of those deals where I told him, I said, "Look, I'm 30 years old, fixing to be 31. I said, I can get these songs cut.
Sure.
You know, I'm to the point in my life where I just want to find my place in music, and if it's sweeping out a studio and getting to hear it, that's fine. But I'm not going to let you try and tell me who I am and what I need to play and how I need to do it. So if you don't like what you hear, don't sign me, you know, because you'll be wasting your money and my time, and I'll be heartbroken." And he said, "Actually, man, I didn't think it was broken. I don't want to fix it. Just go make me a record." I was just like, you know.
And you have creative control over that record then, pretty much.
Pretty close, yeah.
Before we wrap up the show, pick another song. We're going out with a song.
Man, we gotta at least top it off with my first #1 song. It's "I Breathe In, I Breathe Out."
All right. Here, say something real quick about it that they won't know anything about. What was unusual about taping that?
There wasn't really anything unusual about taping it. It was probably, you know what? It was personal to me to be able to make a video on this song because I knew it was coming out on the radio, because I actually fought and believed in this song for so long. To finally get to see it come to fruition, and to finally get to see it get what I felt like was its just due, that meant the world to me. So that's one of the interesting things about that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
My
It's an
pleasure
honor
to
to
have
be on
Chris
your show.
Cagle on the show. Here's Chris Cagle. We're wrapping up now with Breathe In, Breathe Out.